On the 8th of June 793, monks were praying on a small island off the coast of Northumbria, when the sea delivered something they had never seen before. Long, narrow ships cut through the waves. Armed men leapt ashore. Within hours, one of Christianity's holiest sites lay in ruins. Europe would never forget the name Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne was not a fortress, it was a monastery. Known as the Holy Island, it was founded in 635 and had become one of the most important centers of Christian learning in Britain. Its monks copied sacred texts, educated clergy, and safeguarded holy relics. Among them were the remains of Saint Cuthbert, one of England's most revered saints. The attack came without warning. Contemporary chroniclers describe terror and disbelief. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records that heathen men miserably destroyed God's church. Monks were killed. Others were beaten, bound, and taken away as slaves. Sacred objects were stripped of gold and silver. Altars were smashed. The monastery was looted and abandoned. News traveled fast. For Christian Europe, this was not just a raid, it was a shock to the soul. The most famous reaction came from Alcuin of York, a leading scholar at the court of Charlemagne. Writing shortly after the attack, Alcuin asked how such a disaster could be allowed to happen to such a holy place. He called the event a punishment and a warning. His letters spread the fear far beyond England. This was not the first Viking raid. Scandinavian seafarers had struck coastal targets earlier, including a raid on Portland in 789. But Lindisfarne was different. It was sacred ground, and it proved nowhere was safe. The attackers came from Scandinavia, most likely from what is now Norway. They traveled in longships built for speed and shallow waters. These ships allowed them to strike suddenly, then disappear just as fast. The monks had no defenses. The Vikings did not come to conquer territory, they came for wealth. Monasteries were perfect targets. They were isolated, poorly guarded, rich in precious metals, and filled with people who did not fight back. After Lindisfarne, the raids did not stop. In 794, Viking forces attacked Jarrow and Wearmouth, two more major monasteries in Northumbria. In 795, they raided Iona, the spiritual heart of Christianity in Scotland. By 802 and 806, Iona was attacked again. Dozens of monks were killed. Christian chroniclers describe the attackers as demons, as pagans sent by God's anger. The word Viking itself would later become associated with terror. But from the Viking perspective, these were calculated operations. Scandinavia at the time faced population pressure, political competition, and limited farmland. Raiding offered wealth, status, and opportunity. Success brought silver, weapons, and slaves. It also brought reputation. The raid on Lindisfarne showed what was possible. Throughout the 9th century, Viking attacks expanded across Britain, Ireland, and the European mainland. In 845, Vikings sailed up the Seine and sacked Paris. In 865, the so-called Great Heathen Army invaded England, leading to the fall of several Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. But Lindisfarne remained symbolic. It marked the moment Christian Europe realized the old world was ending. Monasteries began to fortify. Kings reorganized defenses. Coastal watch systems were created. Religious writers reinterpreted history, seeing the raids as divine judgment. Ironically, the Vikings themselves would change. Over time, many settled rather than raided. They converted to Christianity. They married into local populations. By the 10th and 11th centuries, Viking leaders ruled Christian kingdoms, including England under Canute the Great. Lindisfarne itself was eventually reoccupied. The relics of Saint Cuthbert were moved inland for protection. The island would later become a place of pilgrimage again, but it never forgot. The raid of 793 did more than destroy a monastery. It shattered the illusion that sacred spaces were untouchable. It exposed the vulnerability of a divided Europe, and it announced the beginning of the Viking Age. The men who arrived by sea that day did not know they were making history, but the sound of oars in the water and fire on holy ground told Europe a new era had begun, one where faith offered no shield and the world beyond the horizon had come crashing ashore.